How do I start? Yeah, I have no money. Hmm, this is wild. I think I'm going back down a path I used to really enjoy on this channel, which was ego dissolution, saying all the shit I don't want you guys to know. I feel unclean. In relation to you all. I feel like there's just a lot in me that I've been keeping from you. Um, that's been kind of, and that's been like kind of the truth for a while, is to be more protective and guarded. But it's just not the truth anymore. And I feel myself veering head on into, just veering back into a way of sharing that's super personal, like sharing everything. Because that's my truth, that's my kind of style or brand or whatever. That's what I like to do. It's more fun to just tell you the truth about my life. There's something that is just real direct about it. And it dissolves me. It dissolves my ego a lot. It's a really ridiculous thing to do. But yeah, I have no money, which is always interesting when you do what I do for work. And, you know, I try to do other things, whatever. Yeah, it's an interesting experience when it's just like, it's between you and God, you know? Like, and I could feel her draining me of money. First of all, I'm in a home and I just paid rent, so that's always nice. And I've got some food in the fridge. And so yay for that. And a little bit of money for some more food. But I've been in my car with $30 in my checking account before. So, you know. But I've been in this place before. Been at home, busted, you know, broke. I used to play professional poker. Semi-pro. What I mean by semi-pro is I would try and semi-succeed and fail a lot. And I would play poker and I'd go completely broke a lot. And, you know, so I'm used to living this kind of life with money where, you know, sometimes it's surging and you're like, cool, so many people are booking sessions, I'm getting donations, the Patreon's growing, this is amazing, this is great. And in poker, it'd be like, I'm winning every pot, I'm the greatest poker player alive. And then, you know, there would be the downswings in poker where you just couldn't win a pot and slowly your bankroll would erode. And I had horrible bankroll management because I was an emotional disaster. So I was always playing games that were way too big. Well, until I actually had a lot of money. At one point I had around $50,000. And that's when I was like, okay, now I'm gonna manage my money, because I actually had an amount of money that was worth kind of preserving, you know. But before, the only reason I had money was because I won a bunch in poker. So it was like, whatever, I got a few $1,000, $5,000. A lot of the reason I had that is because I had borrowed, dude, one time in college, I borrowed 50 or $100 from my friend because I was desperate to play. I had lost like a few $100. And I was like, buy me into this game. And I was studying the game rigorously. And I think we were roommates at this time, and he knew how invested I was into the game. And I told him, whatever I win, I'll give you half of or something. And I ended up winning like a couple $100. So he bought me in. He bought my sales pitch. He was on board. And I ended up, winning a couple $100. So I gave him his money back and he profited like 100. So he doubled his money. And then I had my own $100, you know, and I remember I just ran that up to whatever. I just kept winning and winning. It was a summer in college. So it was and then I was like really high all summer. And then as school started approaching, I started losing it all. And And I didn't have the equanimity I have now about money and losing. If I could play professional poker now, I think I would be much more balanced and I wouldn't tilt. They call it going on tilt when you get emotional about your losses. And there's this thing in poker, everyone can play good when they're winning. It's who can play good when they're losing. Those are going to be the cream of the crop. And I played horrible when I was losing most of the time. And so yeah, that was my big leak. That was my big weakness in poker, is I was not emotionally strong in a sense. Here's another way to put it. I didn't allow myself to process emotions well. I didn't know how. So I would play from these states of frustration and losing and the emotional, like the difficult feelings that would come with that. I would start playing from those places, and it would just affect my decisions. And before you knew it, I would be broke. And then I would take a long break, and then I would refresh, and I would come back recentered, and I would start playing well again. And it was just this cycle, right? And towards the end there, right before Kundalini woke up. So when Kundalini woke up, I was living in downtown Las Vegas, trying to make it just playing professional poker. And I was just starting to like mature enough to where my emotions weren't getting as involved in my decisions when I was playing. Like first of all, I was starting to have the emotional maturity to know after a big loss, I would take long breaks and I would know when to play and when not to play. And I was starting to get the hang of it this way, so that my skills could actually translate into profit. Because when I was at the table and I was locked in and I was, focused and I was in a good mental state and I was centered, there was a good chance that I was going to be a profitable player in certain games that I had an edge in. And there was this one thing I used to do where I would try to go to Bikram yoga before I would play a session of poker. So, because then I just knew, like, if I went to yoga before poker, I would be in this kind of more Zen state, more peaceful state. I would be less disturbed by the fluctuations of every hand, by the inevitable variations, the upswings and the downswings. And so I've had this relationship with money for a long time where, which is another reason I feel like I've been able to live the life I live and not get too crazy about it. This detachment, like, when it's coming, cool, easy come, easy go, is what a lot of poker players say, right? And so when I start kind of going broke and not having money again, it's just kind of like, wow, okay, this is, I've been here before. Like, it's nothing new to me. And almost like to really get really invested in money and have it taking up a lot of your consciousness, it's just a lot to carry around for me. I don't know. I don't like to carry anything around. That being said, it's always nice to have money in the bank account. I love money. Money's great. It's a vehicle for experience, for travel, for eating, for having a roof over your head. Even if the roof's just the car, it's still a vehicle for a vehicle. But money is amazing. I love it. I don't have a negative view of it. I just find it very neutral. It just is what it is. Sometimes I feel like it's flowing in, sometimes it's not. I don't know. And so, yeah, and I guess it's nice to talk about this too, because I know probably a lot of people are going through stuff with money right now. It just kind of has to be in the collective. So that's, I think, one of the powerful things about just stating what's real is, if it's real for me, it's real for others, and it's real for someone out there. So yeah, so these days when I run out of money, it's really interesting. In the past, it would be like, don't know. I would say there would be this hustle about it, like I better hustle. So we got interrupted by an alarm, but I'll have to combine these two, no worries. So in the past, it would be like I better hustle up and go sell some stuff, go sell some cars or beds and make some money. And I would do that if I could. It's just not, I don't know, that pathway is just not there. Like my body won't do it, which is interesting. But now it's more just like letting the situation bring up what it's meant to bring up for me. And just being with it. And it's more like an interesting thing now with money. Like when I'm running out or have none or close to none, it's more just like, oh, okay, what is the divine trying to communicate to me? And always having an openness and a receptivity to whatever she wants. Like, do you want me to go scrub toilets? One time during my awakening, I went and scrubbed toilets in Phoenix. And there's nothing here. I'm going to be sure that this is true, but it doesn't feel like there's anything here that would be above anything. If it feels true, that's what I'm all in. And that's a big test, I think, with money right now for me. Can I stay in the truth when there's no money in my bank account? That's a time when there can be a lot of departing from the truth, I think, is when things are maybe scary is a strong word. It doesn't feel scary to me. It just feels, and it might feel scary at some point, right? We all have our threshold there, and so I don't want to say like I'm above being scared when it comes to financial scarcity, because I'm not. It's just I've encountered this place a lot. It's well known. What we know, we're not scared of, right? Now, if I were, there's always levels to this stuff, right? So I want to have some humility here. And I'm just working this out in real time with you too. This is an exploration we're having literally together right now. I don't have the answers. I just wanted to bring forward what I'm exploring with you. So for me, there's actually a relaxation that happens when I share what's real. Like, oh, I don't have to, it's like, oh, that was carrying, it's almost like I'm not carrying another layer. I'm just like letting go of another layer of ego. It's like, oh, free of that layer that was had all these opinions about money and stuff like that. But yeah, it's another dimension where the divine can break us down and can erode ego. And there, I think there was some ego still in me that wanted you guys to see me a certain way, that still wanted to be seen as successful. And why we equate success with money is interesting. But that's conditioning, right? That's programming. You're successful if you have a lot of money, big house, this or that. And I think a lot of that's starting to change. And a lot of the shame, there's so much shame in money too, in not having it. People used to be thrown in jail for not having money, debtor's prison or something. So I think a lot of this is just coming forward and being like, I have no money or barely next to no money, but I am super grateful for this home and my car and all the things I do have, this phone, the abundance of consciousness that's here, the open heart, the connection with the divine, the ocean, 40 feet right there. I was like making love to the ocean today, just like, just basking in her grace. So there's an abundance of things to be grateful for over here. And that's, I think, one of the things in the Western world, when you don't have money, you hyper focus in on, I don't have money, I don't have money, I don't have money, I don't have money. And that's like That's an interesting place to be. I've been there before, and that doesn't come up as much. I think that some survival fear from my gut will float up and kind of remind me, and I'm like, I know, I know, here and there, but it's interesting now. There's still like a focus on like how much I do feel safe, despite my financial resources being kind of drained at the moment. Yeah. And a big part of it is the money I did have, I spent to be here and to have a home. And that's amazing. It was money well spent. And I got an amazing deal just to be here. The person who's renting it to me is like a guardian angel, in many ways. And there's abundance there, relational abundance, right? So what else? I mean, I don't know how much more there is to say about it. And we follow what's true. In 2 weeks, if I still don't have money and I'm hungry, the truest thing might be different than it is now. Right now, it's just like, relax, allow, trust, and I don't think the truth will ever be anything other than trust, but the body might move into like, I don't know, who knows? Whatever's needed, right? Whatever's this moment is asking of me. This moment is only right now asking me to make videos that are very real and raw again, that are very personal, things I've gotten away from. I rediscovered this truth literally as I was making the most recent Patreon video titled Rediscovering My Truth. Yeah, and thanks to those who are part of the Patreon community. That's a great help. I had this fantasy that I would just grow a huge Patreon following, which is great, but I think there's value in facing scarcity and lack in the financial dimension to uproot a lot of stuff there that is passed down to us about money. There's so much fear around money that's put into our cells and our DNA that when we don't have it, we're forced to face those things, those programs, and to release them. And I haven't had money for a long time, like a good amount, right? And yet life still has found a way to take care of this body, and this human. And so we get to learn like abundance takes many forms. And I think that's one of the reasons there's not a lot of fear here, because I know that now. I know like there's an abundance of resources to take care of us that's beyond money. But let's just see where this goes. I'll keep being real. If this keeps being the exploration I'm on, I just want to keep sharing it. I love sharing sharing what's real is fucking nirvana to me. It's all the way up. It doesn't get any better. It's my favorite thing to do. It dissolves so much programming. It just liberates me beyond belief. And so I'll continue to share how this moves. And yeah, just thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I love being this whatever specimen, this being that you guys kind of get to watch go through something in real time, And I think making it very personal adds that element to it, where it adds the element of story. Story is beautiful. Story is a way that we relate. I love how Mukti, a very awakened being, talks about how story can be an integral part of the human experience. And so I love sharing my story, and it's a story, right? If it didn't have all the twists and turns, And it also dissolves shame, just coming forward and being like, I have no money. Like, I have almost no money. And saying that to the world and owning that That's an unimaginable thing for me to do not that long ago, especially in my 20s. I was all about, I want to project success and I need to have this much in my bank account to feel okay. And it's getting to the point now where it's just I'm getting, those parts are dying so fully that it's just like, I'm not feeling that much shame making this video. I'm feeling more joy and expansiveness. I'm enjoying it. I just am feeling the love of sharing what's real with you guys, because it's my most favorite thing to do and it lights me up. I actually feel very alive in my heart, just beaming love as I share this. And a little bit of shame, which is good. It's like that shame gets to fall away. So, yeah. I just love you all so much. Thanks for being here. There's such heart joy happening right now. Like, my being is so happy that we're on this path of that we've rediscovered this path and reconnected with this path of just sharing the most intimate, real, vulnerable thing. And it's like, there's so much energy over here in my being to do that. And yeah, it feels amazing. So thanks for witnessing. I appreciate you guys so much. See you in the next video. Namaste.